Thank you very much, Arvind. So just to reiterate, what you saw there was local maps, and that's really part of the whole web GIS approach, along with the things you saw, the capabilities you saw before the break. But bearing in mind that the web GIS isn't just about accessing GIS through a web browser. It's about using web services to access those same capabilities and data sets through the right tool for the job. And in any enterprise system, it really prides itself in providing the right tool for the job based upon different environments, different users, and different user experiences. A key part of that is field mobility or field operations. So those same capabilities that you saw accessible through local maps and through the web applications before the break are also available through the field applications. So for those of you who do field work right now using ArcGIS, you'll be familiar with the three main applications that are used for viewing, accessing, and capturing information in the field, both online and offline. Field Maps is our map-centric viewer, which runs on smartphones and tablets. Survey 123 is a form-centric view of the same data for data capture and updates. And then we've got Quick Capture, the third part of the set of applications, which is a very different and radically different interface, which has got, in many cases, no map at all. I think of it as like a TV remote control for GIS data capture. It's a great way to capture information rapidly in the case where you're doing lots of information, maybe from a moving vehicle, for example. Those are the three field applications, and often they're partnered with the missing link there, which is dashboards. So we saw dashboards earlier on. They're not a field application, but often that partnering of data capture in the field with those applications being viewed in near real time on a dashboard to see the progress of data capture is a really, really powerful combination. To give us a view of what's new in those field applications that I've mentioned, I now want to pass across to Carol, who will give us a quick update. Carol.
Thanks, Scott. All right. In the next 7 minutes, I will showcase the newest features of ArcGIS Field Apps. Field apps play a crucial role in modern GIS. So consolidating into three key applications, one for rapid data collection, another for mapping, and a third for surveying. Quick Capture is the rapid data collection app where you can collect points, lines, and polygons through a simple big button user experience. And user inputs are a powerful feature in Quick Capture. You use them to let field users add extra attributes using dialogues specifically designed for fast data entry. Here, I am showing you an example of a project user input where we can define the team leader name. Typically, lists are static and generally do not need to change. However, if the choices on a list are going to change often, you can ensure the list remains up to date in your Quick Capture using Dynamic Choice List. Switching to my Designer app, here I have linked a Dynamic Choice List from a team leader's feature table as my project user input. Essentially, whenever the author configures the list, the updated list will be displayed on the Quick Capture. In the past, button user inputs were only limited to 3 per button, and it requires manual editing of the JSON project to reorder them. Now with the latest update, you can configure up to 10 button user inputs, and you can conveniently reorder them in the Designer app. You can also find Arcade Editor in the Designer app. You use it to calculate attributes using arcade expressions. And here is just an example of a simple expression to perform point-to-polygon calculation. It also works offline, as Arcade will run against data you collect while being disconnected. Field maps, comprising the mobile app and Designer apps, are essential tools for viewing maps, collecting data, and enhancing situational awareness in the field. Let's explore the newest features together. You can now incorporate an info element onto your form. This one provides users to access read-only text box. You can format the text in a variety of ways, such as with headings, italics, bolds, link text to external sources, and add a visibility expression to conditionally show or hide the info element. Now let's try collect a linear feature. In this case, I would like to collect a sidewalk feature. When collecting a linear feature, the cumulative length will be displayed, meaning it includes the proposed segment as well as the existing segments you've collected before. Last year, there was a new capability to create a new layer in the Field Maps Designer app. With the February update, there's advanced settings that allows you to choose a coordinate system. This is important for high accuracy data collection projects where you need to store data in a local projected coordinate system. You can also enable M values to support linear referencing capabilities. The latest update includes support for managing lists in forms. You can now add a CSV file to either add or replace your existing list of values. Here I am adding a CSV list of local councils in New Zealand. Moving on to Survey 1 to 3. I have created a community engagement survey focused on enhancing urban green spaces and playgrounds. Leveraging the latest features like Gen AI and implementing feasibility rules in bulk, the process was streamlined, taking only minutes to create this survey. You can find the new Gen AI feature in the Survey 1 to 3 web designer. This one enables you to create survey designs through a conversational interaction. So this chatbot assisted me by giving me a set of questions that was adjustable based on my preferences. Once satisfied, I simply click Generate to transfer the survey design from the chatbot to the web designer. You can now also copy feasibility rules in bulk in the web designer. So let's say, for example, I want the respondent to take on this specific question before any other questions in the form is shown. Create the feasibility rule once and apply it in bulk to multiple questions. The latest release also includes auto-translate features in both Survey 1 to 3 and Web Designer and Survey 1 to 3 Connect. This one utilizes auto-translate machine translation technology. So I have incorporated my native language, Indonesian, and other auto-translated languages to broaden the survey's accessibility to diverse audiences. So if Badwin joins the survey, he can easily choose to respond in his native language, toggling to Dutch language on the mobile app. Microsoft Power Automate have a built-in Survey 1 to 3 connector, allowing you to integrate Survey 1 to 3 into your webhook workflow with minimum difficulty. Moving forward, Survey 1 to 3 actions in this connector will be available in the ArcGIS connector. In the future, field maps will provide the capability to streamline task coordination, like the functionality present in ArcGIS Workforce. With field maps, you will have the ability to efficiently plan and assign tasks to specific individuals, facilitating seamless communication of task priorities and details. That wraps up what's new in Field Apps. Back to you, Ed.
Thank you, Carol. There was a lot of screens there to flick between, so nice job. So the beta opportunities for tasking in field maps will be online this year. Last year we did present a similar slide, albeit with pretty hazy pictures of slides that were at the other end of a room. We've upgraded to a screenshot this year of the actual capability, and we'll be promoting the beta program when we get that information online, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. So there was a lot of new things inside that update across the field operations space that I think everyone will probably have a takeaway from. My one in particular is the generative AI feature inside Survey 123. We're geospatial specialists, but workflow generalists often in our organisation. We have to become experts very quickly in all these different workflows that people request from us and the technology and the tools that we use. So being able to preempt the workflows or the questions that maybe someone in a different business unit might want to ask, and then present that survey with them, with the survey all filled out, ready for them to validate, I think is a really valuable capability to take advantage of. So head back to the office and definitely try that out if you're using Survey 123 already. So WebGIS, just to summarise on the last leg of the stool here, we're going to be focusing on sharing and collaboration and just giving you a bit of a primer on some of the capabilities that are available with some very simple settings inside both online and enterprise. This graphic was shared a couple of weeks ago by one of our colleagues at a distributor in Canada. And I think it summarises the transition that you're seeing the technology evolve to over time. We've gone from people in physical partitions sharing USB sticks or maybe network drives between different booths in an office to enabling entire organisations, no matter where you are in the country or the world, as long as you have an internet connection and a password, you have access to everything that's inside your portal to inform your decisions. But something quite exciting that we have a few presentations covering this afternoon is this idea of networks, sharing data and content across organisation boundaries and even sector boundaries to benefit everyone's ability to make the right decision at the right time. And underpinning all of this and everything that you've seen today is sharing to some degree. And so we're just going to give you a bit of a primer on, and this is a graphic that the team put their heads together and had a bit of a think tank around, which breaks down some of the mysteries of sharing and puts it into a really easy framework, hopefully for you to understand further, but also provide a resource to take back to your organisation to demystify it for those who maybe still can't get their head around groups and sharing and collaboration. So say you and your content are looking to be distributed to a certain workflow or a certain pattern. You've got a couple of options available, these user sharing actions. You can choose to share it to a whole lot of different modes, whether it's to the general public, you're putting out something for consultation, maybe you're sharing it to a specific group with slight nuances on the membership or who hosts it. You might be sharing to what you think is only just you. Well, we want to dispel that a little bit and give you a little bit more awareness on when you click each of these options, actually what the distribution is in the different swim lanes that you're falling into. So let's start with you have your product and you choose to share it to just yourself and your organisation, or so you thought. Inside your ArcGIS Online subscription, when you share to just yourself, your subscription administrator can also see that content if you've configured your portal that way. So just keep that in mind. That's that first level of sharing, just yourself and your system administrator. Then there's some options to share to a group. That's either or that just has organisation members inside it, so those who are just inside that same environment. This is that selected subset of your organisation that you're sharing to, but at the same time, you can also choose to share to everyone in your organisation if it's a really important reference layer, like locations of certain assets that everyone needs to know inside your organisation. So you've got two swim lanes already that you can choose between, yourself and your admin, and then also your organisation or a selected few. Where it gets interesting is when you choose to share your content, those maps, layers and apps, to a group that has external membership inside it. This is where you start to cross that divide and actually sharing information externally. You're not sharing to the general public, but you're still sharing to a trusted subset. But then there's also sharing to an external hosted group, which I think is a really powerful capability done well, but also something just to flag as something to consider when you're sharing content using online and maybe enterprise with distributed collaboration. Because when you share your layer and app to another organisation, people who have access to that group can choose the membership. So suddenly people can reuse that content one step beyond maybe that intended audience or that deliberate choice. In the field I work in, emergency management, this is a really powerful thing. It means that we don't have to control who has access to a layer that maybe lots of people need to have access to. So an analyst can take a layer and put it into their product and everyone in their organisation can then see it, even if they're not in that same membership. And then, of course, there's the public button, which I think is probably the most straightforward one to understand, the ability to share to the public, and anyone with that URL can access that product and then make really informed decisions over the layers and apps that have been created to maybe inform of a really important initiative inside your organisation. So then there's the final string to the bow, which is partner collaboration, which we do get a lot of questions about. What does it impact in terms of those collaboration options that I already have available to me? How does it enhance them or change them? Well, there's two workflows in particular that it impacts. Sharing to a group that has maybe members from an external organisation in, or if you're choosing to share that layer into a group that's hosted by someone outside it. There are two benefits really that partner collaboration brings. It brings that ability to delegate responsibility of who's bringing people in and out of groups. This is really useful if you're that one GIS administrator for your organisation and you don't want to have to constantly receive Outlook messages or Teams messages to on and offboard people to groups. Providing members of your organisation the ability to self-service and with the right training and the right checks and balances, being able to delegate that responsibility to not just add and remove members, but maybe look at other organisations' membership lists and being able to add and remove based on that. So it's the added layer of trust. But then the most incredible one in my mind is this idea that we can have one layer that multiple organisations are editing at the same time. We all know how difficult it is to edit data in a short space of time, especially when there's lots of edits that need to be applied. And this is a really interesting capability where maybe we could have one layer that 10 different organisations are editing different aspects of. That's really useful for whatever information product we're having on the day. So just keep that in mind. You've got a few options there that, although it's just a flick of a button, they enable some really interesting patterns of use. So that's why we just wanted to cover it. Any feedback on this slide, we're more than happy to tailor and tinker it, and we'll distribute it out following the RUC. But hopefully that's been useful. And collaboration and sharing is great because it means that when we do some really neat stuff on the analysis side, we have a whole lot of options on who we want to share and collaborate with. And for this, I'm going to stop the Web GIS segment and now transition over to the analysis segment with Scott. Over to you.
Thanks, Ed. Okay, so I mentioned before that analysis is really GIS coming into its own. It's going beyond the mapping and visualization, as cool as that is, and using compute power and data and smart algorithms to ask questions of our data. And those data sources are becoming richer and richer all the time. Analysis goes from the very simple things such as a buffer or a clip, those kind of more traditional GIS operations, into some very sophisticated areas. And that area is advancing very rapidly. One of the areas I want to call out specifically is the AI, so artificial intelligence, specifically the deep learning and machine learning. We've seen a little bit of that so far. We're going to see more of that in the next couple of segments.